Who is it?
It's the plumber. I've come to fix this.
That was fantastic. Can we get another round of applause for Jet Black, please? Give these young people some love. Windrush Day for every age. And now we have a special guest that's given up his time today to share us some more love in Manchester. I don't think he needs any introduction, but I'm going to say his name anyway. Wes Streeting, MP, maybe soon to be the next Health Secretary. Round up, applause.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Good afternoon, Manchester. It's great to be here celebrating Windrush Day with you. And what better place for the Shadow Health Secretary to celebrate Windrush Day than with the Caribbean and African Health Network, because it is no coincidence that we celebrate the anniversary of the arrival of Windrush and the Windrush generation with the anniversary of the foundation of our country's National Health Service. We should never forget, in fact we should actively celebrate the contribution that that Windrush generation made to building our country's National Health Service and making our National Health Service the greatest institution this country has ever built. That generation, their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren have been such an important part of the story of our country's National Health Service. Generation after generation after generation, giving their lives to public service, to care for others. And of course, as we celebrate that anniversary and celebrate the contribution of the Windrush generation to our National Health Service, we should also take a moment to reflect in a more sober and honest and candid fashion that however great the contribution of that generation to our National Health Service has been, we still see far too many inequalities blighting our country and holding back and actively disadvantaging black communities. In most organisations where we struggle to promote black leadership, we often hear it's because of the talent pipeline. It's a struggle to recruit people in through the front door and to nurture and bring people up to the top of the organisation. Sometimes that's true, but in our National Health Service, there's simply no excuse for the fact that for now more than 75 years, black communities have always been part of the staff of the NHS, but even today, in 2024, in 21st century Britain, we still see far too black leaders at the top of our National Health Service. And that's not just about tokenism or box ticking or numbers for numbers' sake. It's about the impact that conscious and unconscious bias has on the quality and the effectiveness of the health service that people receive. We all know that the NHS is going through the worst crisis in its history, but we should also know that even in good times, there are health inequalities baked into our society and baked into our National Health Service. And that's why I'm determined to make sure that we close the healthcare inequalities that sees black women 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women, that sees black men twice as likely to die of prostate cancer than white men, that sees a gap in our country and our lives and our healthy life expectancy that can't just be explained by the gap between rich and poor, bad though that is, but is also about the racism that continues to hold our society back and to hold back the progress of our whole country, because we know from experience in our history, in our shared history on this island, that an injury to one is an injury to all. And so there is an enormous challenge facing us at this moment. A moment of great crisis in our National Health Service, certainly, but also an opportunity for our generation, for this generation, to be the team that takes the NHS from the worst crisis in its history, to get it back on its feet and to make sure it's fit for the future. Always honouring those foundational principles that made us love the NHS for more than 75 years now. That it's a public service, publicly funded, free at the point of use, so that whenever you fall ill, you never have to worry about the bill. And also, an NHS that's always there for you when you need it. As a kidney cancer survivor myself, I know how important our National Health Service is, and I know how big the responsibility is that's resting on our shoulders to make sure that the NHS is there for us when we need it for the next 75 years. And as we do that job, if we are given the opportunity, the privilege to serve our country after the general election now in less than 2 weeks' time, yes, we'll deliver the 40,000 more appointments we need to cut an NHS waiting list. Yes, we'll double the number of scanners so we can diagnose earlier and treat faster. Yes, we will make sure we reform the Mental Health Act so that we're not detaining people unfairly and unnecessarily, and make sure we've got mental health support in every primary and secondary school, in every community in our country. And yes, we will rebuild NHS dentistry so you can also find a dentist when you need one too. But we're also going to really focus in on health inequalities to make sure that whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever your background, whatever the colour of your skin, whatever your race, faith or religion, that you have access to high quality healthcare, free at the point of use, so you never have to worry about the bill, always knowing that the NHS is there for you when you need it, staffed by the brilliant people that we see among us today, the many more besides who've made up the fantastic staff of our National Health Service for more than 75 years. So thank you so much for inviting me along to be part of your celebrations this afternoon. It's wonderful to be here with my friend Cahn to see his community that he's been so proud to represent in Parliament, to be here with our fantastic Mayor, Andy Burnham, who's done so much as Mayor of Greater Manchester despite the challenges of the government, and taken his experience of being our country's health secretary to really delivering for the health and well-being of diverse communities right across Greater Manchester. It's great to be here. I'm glad the sun's turned out for all of us today. I hope the weather keeps up for you, and thank you so much for everything that your communities have given to our National Health Service, to this city and to our country. Long may it continue.
Thank you so much. We're streeting. Can we get a round of applause, please? And we've got a break now for you to look at these fantastic stalls. More coming very soon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, great. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you, yeah. So sorry about the noise, it's a bit, but we're just gonna do what we can, yeah? So are you Mr. Cahn, yeah?
Yeah.
You're the local...
I am. Basically, I'm at the moment the candidate for Manchester Resham, which includes the Resham, Fallowfield, Woolwich, Hume, Moorside and Ardwick. So these are the 6 areas I hope to represent.
Yeah.
Of course, subject to what people say. So that's 4th of July. But what I do want to say today is Windrush celebration, an amazing achievement. For us to come here to make this country a great country, our contribution has been awesome. We made this country great. We made many of the institutions, and no better institution as the jewel in the crown is the NHS. Our contribution has made that, so we are proud of that. Of course, there is a somber note here. There are many of us who have been here for a long time, 50, 60 years, yet have been this part of this immigration hostile environment that this Tory government has been operating.
Yeah.
Many of them not having documentation, many of them losing their homes, their loved ones, their respect, and yet they've been so slow. I was the Shadow Minister for Immigration when I put their feet to the fire and said no, fairness is fairness, they should be respected, they should be given documentation, they should be given compensation, and they should be given citizen. That is the only way of having a justice. So let's make sure we have got rid of the Tory government, let's get the Labour in, let's make sure we work done to make sure this is achieved. So enjoy wonderful city like Manchester, rich and diverse. Thank you.
So what is it, if you win, what is it you're looking to do for the community, as in changes-wise?
I've already said, we've had 14 years of Tories, and you can see for yourself, every family can feel it in every aspect of their life. I just talked about the Windrush and their contribution to the NHS. It's the worst we have seen. Nearly 8 million people on the waiting list, nearly 180,000 vacancies in jobs. Hey, that's me and you, it's our families. We deserve better. In other fields, you can see the same thing. So let's make a change. Let's make sure on 4th of July we go out, we vote for Labour, we have a Labour government and a fresh start for Britain.
Yeah, and you hear it from Mr. Cahn, yeah? So thank you, Mr. Cahn, yeah? Go out and vote Labour, so...
Thank you.
Yeah?
Viva Cahn.
Yeah? Alright, man, thank you, yeah? Take care.
Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for Caribbean MVS Steel Pan playing for us today. Let's bring this microphone out.
So much again for inviting me over. I was here last year and I suppose I gave a very fiery speech, so I'm going to try to be a bit more tame today. But what I would say is this, I think some of the words that run true for me, I just wanted to sort of read a few things. The Runnymede Trust said this, to celebrate Windrush Day is to appreciate how migrants define Britain in so many ways, positive ways, and to recognize the fight for justice for the victims and families of the Windrush scandal that is still ongoing. That's what the Runnymede Trust sort of coins this day today. So on the positive note, because I want to be positive as well today, we know that, you know, obviously 1948 is a very, very important time. And I think West Streeton made mention of the fact that there was some important contributions to the NHS by the Windrush generation. And what I would say is this, certain cities have changed significantly because of that generation. Cities like Manchester, cities like Bristol, Liverpool, Leeds, Preston, and Birmingham. Without that generation, those cities would not look like they are today. Thriving cities. Our cities in Manchester, in my city as well in Salford, quite thriving as well. What I would say as well is that they had contributions as well in transport, in railways, and of course our healthcare sector, as I said earlier. So that's the positive stuff. Really, really positive interventions in our society. Culturally, we are much more unique, much more special. We stand out in Europe as well in special ways. But what I would say as well, in terms of the negative parts of it, right, the language hasn't really died down recently. It hasn't. Of course, the language that they met was keep Britain white. The language that they met earlier when they came here was blacks go home. That is a language they met. And it's very important we stick to the facts, right? The facts are that we've had 14 years of chaos. We've had 14 years of terrible Home Secretaries. Never forget the arsonist, that is Theresa May. The arsonist Theresa May. Don't forget her. Don't forget Amber Rudd. Don't forget, you know, Priti Patel. And certainly don't forget Suella Braverman. These are the key people we need to know, right? Know that they very much started that hostile environment. They started a hostile environment. They quickly stripped out the identities of these people and said, you need to go home. And I would put a phrase here. This is what Priti Patel called them. Priti Patel called them rapists and murderers. They have put and pitted us against racial gatekeepers in this country. Racial gatekeepers like Priti Patel, racial gatekeepers like Suella Braverman. That is what we're fighting against in this country. People that will look like us and go and stand in the pulpit and absolutely lie out of their face in that sense. We are fighting a battle here. Let's be very clear about that. What I also add is that there's been significant strides, of course. We've had a Windrush compensation scheme that is currently incepted. However, it is not independent at all. We need that scheme to be independent. Since its inception, out of a possible 15,000 people that are eligible, only 2,000 have been able to claim that compensation in that sense. It is not good enough in the first place, and they're not even allowing those people that are eligible to claim that as well. And it's certainly not independent. What I also add is that we've had, obviously, the report of Wendy Williams. Wendy very much put a very good report out there, 30 substantial recommendations. Out of those 30 substantial recommendations, Suella Braverman did not look to fully implement everything. And currently we are fighting very hard to have, obviously, a commissioner who will be there to speak up for migrants. We're fighting very hard for the independent chief inspector to have new, powers as well. And we're fighting very hard to at least let these victims let their story be heard, okay? To have reconciliation events as well. Now, you've heard from Labour Party councillors here. You've heard from our mayor, a great mayor. You've heard from West Streeton of the incoming government, hopefully. You have the right. Exercise your right to vote. When you vote for these people, make sure you vote for them. I would encourage you to do that. Vote for them, but then you have to hold them to account as well. It's very important that our vote, the black vote, is respected as well in this country. So when we vote for these people, we hold them to account. It's very positive today. I was, seeing Twitter to see Keir very much, acknowledge the contribution of the Windrush generation and say that it is time to redress the injustice. That is very positive words, but I want to see some action behind those words in that sense. So once you vote for them, after election day, we hold them to account. What we need from this government is very simple. We want Wendy Williams's recommendations to be fully implemented. Every single one of those 30 recommendations to be implemented. Also, we want a statutory inquiry. That is very important to get the facts of the matter. Who did what and when did that happen? And hold those responsible to account. So I would say to you today, it's been really good seeing every single one of you today, enjoying the music. I have absolutely partaken in it. I've loved to see you, and thank you so much for showing up and showing your support and solidarity. And thanks for celebrating Windrush Day. Happy Windrush Day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Councillor Nathaniel Tete.
Hello to everybody, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to talk to you today. My name is Nicola Gardner. I'm a local playwright and actress, and I've written a show called the Windrush Warriors. Now, I wrote the Windrush Warriors in response to the deplorable Windrush scandal. I was absolutely outraged, and I put pen to paper, and with the lens of theatre, I wanted everybody to get the message that if there is any type of oppression, we're going to fight back. And it's all about 4 African Caribbean pensioners who meet every day at a community centre, and they're enjoying their retirement, and they're playing dominoes and knitting and playing cards. And then one of them comes very worried. She feels like she's going to be deported. So we're going to do a small scene from the show, but mainly I want you to invite you to come and see the show, which is on at the Anthony Burgess Foundation. Let me tell you where that is. Everybody here, I'm sure, knows where Trinity High School is. It's just Trinity High School on the right-hand side, just before you go around the corner to the Ritz. Yeah, and it's on from the 25th to the 29th. Now, we're sold out on Saturday, but we have got tickets for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Please, please come and support us. I mean, it's so rare that there ever is a production featuring black people. And I've written it, and I've given everybody a significant platform, including myself. So that's the introduction to the play. We're going to see a short scene, so hope to see all of you next week, okay? Right, take it away, actors. Why? Jesus, have mercy, God. Why, Jesus? Oh, God, what am I going to do? Lord of His mercy, God. Why? It look like I'm going to get kicked out of this country.
But why, Sister Johnson?
You on the backside, you talking about?
Well, they come for my nephew last night, kick down him door and take him where we don't know warning.
But what for?
Well, he was part of an anti-fracking bike ride and the police charged him with disorderly conduct. So now, him have a criminal record and for that, then put him in a detention and tell him say he is going to be deported. Jesus have mercy. Oh God.
You don't have no criminal record. Well, and them we don't know that, do we?
What are you two talking about? Of course I don't have a criminal record. But I got a letter from the government last week. I've been carrying it around in my handbag. I've been too scared to open it.
Hold on, woman. Give me that letter. Me don't tell you already, you can't hide from these things, you know. Hold on, no man. Oh, very official.
Lord, me
Home
go.
office.
What is it?
Home office. Okay, hold on. Alright, it just says they want you to establish and confirm your British citizenship. And that is all.
Oh, I don't know that.
I am a British citizen. Why should I need to confirm it?
So you have a British passport then?
Well, no.
I don't have.
I came here on my mother's passport. I have been here since I was 10 years old. I don't know nobody back home, and besides them is all dead now.
So this is what they are really saying. It's what, dear Mrs. Johnson, we are throwing you out of the country for your own good.
You
You
wicked
will
enough.
be far happier in the place you were originally when we first invited you here.
Jesus.
So long, farewell, Avida, then good.
You wicked man.
No.
To you and you. The home office wants you humped.
That has got me so upset. I worked so hard in this country. Yes. I was a dinner lady for 23 years. Lord, the children love me. They always used to ask me when I wasn't there.
He will tell you that. How would you know what them say if you wasn't there, woman?
Well, I would have thought people would have wanted to have me in this country. A clean, living, hard-working woman.
Yes,
No, this is not marks out of 10 and a gold star, you know. This is not school.
No, sir.
Look, it's a box ticking exercise, and your box have a cross. The box that asks if you are a British citizen, and a nothing.
That's right.
But I thought I was, I tell you. What about the Commonwealth?
yes.
The Commonwealth. Woman, you need to update yourself, you know. You don't read newspaper?
No, I don't. And if you'll excuse me, I'm going to the toilet.
She needs to read the
I think she's going to have a cry. Oh my Lord. Brother Leroy and
What?
Brother Myers. Be nice to her, man. She has had a big shock.
No, sure.
So there you have a little snippet of our show. Thank you. They were wonderful. I love these actors. They're great. So listen, I've got tickets on me today. So if you want to buy a ticket from me, it's going to be discounted. Just in honor of this wonderful Windrush Day. So see me afterwards, and thank you so much, Cahn, for giving us the opportunity to show a small snippet of our show, and we look forward to seeing all of you next week at the Anthony Burgess Foundation on Cambridge Street. Are you going to come? Yeah, thank you. See you all later. Bye. Thank you to the actors. They were great.
Our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is Councillor Suzanne Wyatt, the Mayor of Stockport. And apologies, in the program, in the brochure, we actually say she's the Deputy Mayor. She's not, she is the Mayor of Stockport, elected as the new Mayor in May of 2024. The charity Suzanne is elected to be a charity in her tenure as Mayor is Stockport Food Network, which fights food poverty in the borough. And we're delighted to have her here with us today as we celebrate Windrush 76. Please put your hands together for Councillor Suzanne Wyatt.
United Kingdom and colonies. So that meant that people had the legal right to come into the UK as citizens. So there was, in effect, freedom of movement. And my dad came here in 1960, just after I was born, to answer the call to help rebuild. He was a civil engineer. And in 1967, myself and my 4 siblings came to the UK to settle. We went to school here, we had friends, but then in 1973, my dad decided to go and take a contract in Jamaica. I wanted to come back, and I came back a few years later, but unbeknownst to me, that status of citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, when Jamaica became independent, that was removed by Parliament, and it was removed from other Commonwealth citizens as well. So if you were from Barbados, when they became independent, you lost that status. If you were from Trinidad, if you were from countries in Africa. So as all these countries became independent, that status was taken away. And you heard the play earlier where people had come here and they were living here and they decided, you know, they didn't have anything to do with the islands anymore, but they were made citizens of the islands that they'd come from, and they were no longer had the status of citizen here. On top of that, the government passed the 1971 Immigration Act, which said that all these people who had lost their status, they could stay here, they could have indefinite leave to remain, but if they went out the country for more than 2 years, then they would lose that and they would be locked out. And so over the years, a number of people have been locked out of the UK because they weren't told that these laws had changed. I personally was threatened with deportation in the early 80s. And so things went on like that until after 2014, when the new immigration law was passed, and you had to then show documents to your doctors, or to get service from the NHS, or to keep your job. People weren't given any documents when they were given indefinite leave to remain. They were just told they could stay here, but now the government was saying you had to prove that you had the legal status. And that's what we describe as the Windrush scandal, because many people didn't have those documents, and so they were put in detention. Many were deported. The government says up till 2002 they could find 164 people who had been illegally deported. And so when Amelia Gentleman broke this scandal in the newspapers, a lot of people realised that, you know, they were part of that, and we came forward and we formed Windrush Defenders. And we've been working in the community for a number of years now, since the scandal broke, to help people to apply for documents to prove their legal status. So if there's anyone who feel that, you know, they should check their legal status, we're able to do that. Just Google Windrush Defenders. We're able to help you. And then there are those who have been impacted, who haven't come forward yet. We also assist people to claim compensation. So that's the work that's been going on. But what we found now is that the disproportionate immigration law enforcement has created a lot of inequalities. We heard the Shadow Health Secretary earlier on talking about all the disparities in health. Well, you have similar disparities in education. Many of our children have been excluded from school. We have those disparities in the disproportionate enforcement of criminal law. So all the stop and searches, all the disproportionate prison sentences, they're there too. And in work, there's problems in progression and employing people from black and other minorities. And so what we're saying that this Windrush scandal goes much broader, and we're calling for a Windrush Act. that helps to underpin what we call our burning work. This is where we challenge authorities to comply with their duty to tackle inequalities. There's a legal duty for them to tackle inequalities. And Cahn's been very good at challenging the health authorities to comply with their legal duties, but we need that happening across the board. So we're calling for a Windrush Act, and you can get more information if you scan the QR code. I'll leave some of these around the stage, and you can get some more information, and if you want to check your status, there's an opportunity for you to do that. So we have now some more information from Cheryl. Cheryl has just come off the boat as well.
Well, it wasn't me, it was my mum. And I'd love to share my mum's story with you and her journey from Barbados to the UK in 1960. My mum came over and her maiden name was Alison Morris. She later married and became Alison Bennison. She worked as a nurse for over 45 years in Blackpool. I'm sharing this story with you here because we have now moved to Manchester because my mum passed away in March 2020, but we want to keep her legacy going. We are really, really proud of her. We were lucky enough to have the BBC approach us to have a video made to teach children of primary age in 2022, and it became an add-on to the curriculum. And we have a video that the BBC made that we'd like to share with you. It would be great if you could get closer to see the video. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Dante and I'm 9 years old. People from all around the world have been coming to Britain to make it their homes for hundreds of years. But in the 1940s, 50s and 60s, there was a huge increase in the number of people arriving from the Caribbean islands. They were invited to come here by the British government because there was a shortage of people to do some important jobs. These people are often called the Windrush generation because the boat that brought the first new arrivals was called the HMT Empire Windrush. The boat arrived at Tilbury Docks, Essex, 22nd of June 1948. Alison Bennison arrived in 1960 after she answered an advert looking for nurses to join the NHS. The National Health Service was new back then. It was formed just over 10 years before Alison's arrival. She was living on the Caribbean island of Barbados when she saw the advert. I'm meeting with her granddaughter Lindsay to tell me more about her journey. Thank you for meeting me today, Lindsay.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for being interested in my grandma's story. It was my grandma's Aunt Lil who pushed her when she saw the advert calling for nurses from overseas. If it wasn't for her, there was no way my grandma would have made such a huge journey. But Aunt Lil wanted her to make the most of her intelligence and use it to help people. My grandma's mother passed away when my grandma was just a girl. She was only 14. She died giving birth. This experience made her think about going into medicine as a career.
So how old was your grandma when she came to Britain?
My grandma was only 19, which was so young to be starting a whole new life in a new country. When the plane finally arrived in London, that's when she travelled to Lancashire to train to be a nurse. She's lived and worked in Black.
On this side, the grass is cut very nice for the people and play them game. Everything is very smooth. And look over the Windrush side where them having the Windrush.
We can love this council.
Yeah. Look at the state of it. Look. It's an absolute disgrace. Yeah. So that's the party over there where them keeping the party. And this is where them have the people them playing them ball. So it cut nice and neat. And look.
Please welcome Councillor Leon.
Where they keeping the actual thing, the grass is actually high. No farmer. I don't understand these people at all.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm a councillor.